All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to explore how you can literally manually flip your biological switches to take control of your mood. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever been sitting there doing absolutely nothing and suddenly you just feel off? You aren't really sad, you aren't angry, you just feel kind of empty. It is such a frustrating, universal feeling, right? You pull out your phone and mindlessly scroll, but it doesn't help. You blast your favorite playlist, it doesn't help. You might even watch some super upbeat motivational stuff, and it still completely fails. In those moments, you always end up asking yourself, why can't I just feel happy for no reason? Well, here's the truly shocking part. You absolutely do not need to wait for your life to suddenly get better. And you don't even need to force positive thoughts or fake motivation. Nope. Your brain can actually switch into a happier state in just 15 seconds. You really don't need to fix your life to feel better. You just need to interrupt how your brain reacts to stress in those critical first few seconds. So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with a 15-second promise, move on to trick 1, face feedback, hit trick 2, name it, dive into trick 3, micro wins, and finally wrap up with your new superpower. Okay, section 1, the 15-second promise, hacking your brain's design. To really understand this, we have to look under the hood at how your brain is actually wired, because the root of a bad mood spiral almost always comes down to a simple misunderstanding of our own biology. See, by default, your brain is not designed to make you happy. It is fundamentally designed to react fast and keep you alive. And this brilliantly explains why two people can have the exact same awful day but react completely differently. Imagine two people stuck in the exact same terrible traffic, dealing with the exact same stress. One goes home and is just miserable all night long, while the other simply shakes it off and feels totally fine. The difference isn't their life, it's how their brain reacted in the first few seconds. Once you get how that fast reaction works, you can interrupt it almost instantly. Which brings us to section 2, trick 1, face feedback, signaling safety. Here's something most people actually don't know. Your brain doesn't just spontaneously create emotions out of thin air. It actively listens to your body to decide how you should be feeling. And your face, it's one of the biggest sources of information. I actually want you to physically perform these steps with me right now. Seriously, try it. Step 1, gently raise your eyebrows. Step 2, let your jaw fully relax. Step 3, let the corners of your mouth lift into just a soft smile. Nothing crazy, not a giant forced grin, just a subtle lift. Now hold that exact expression for 15 seconds. Okay, so what just happened? When you do this, your brain receives a physical signal. It interprets that exact facial expression and says, oh, hey, we must be safe. And the result? Because it thinks you're safe, it automatically dials down the stress chemicals and boosts the feel-good ones. You aren't forcing happiness here, you are literally signaling safety. The massive mistake we all make is waiting to feel happy before we change our body language. But your brain works in reverse. Change the physical signal first and the emotion naturally follows, because your brain reacts to physical cues way faster than it reacts to actual thoughts. Moving on to section 3. Trick 2, name it, the brain reset. Okay, so you now know how to tell your brain that you are safe physically. But what happens when your mind is just aggressively racing? What if it's overthinking, replaying problems, or jumping into the future with anxiety, causing this massive emotional spike? Well, what's really fascinating is understanding the two main modes of your brain, reacting mode and thinking mode. When your emotions spike, your brain immediately jumps into reaction mode, handing your emotional centers full control of the steering wheel. The trick to resetting this whole system is shifting control right back to the logical centers, the thinking mode. And here is the absolute best shortcut to make that shift happen. The very moment you feel stressed, anxious, or low, you simply need to name the emotion. Say it silently or out loud. I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling irritated. That is all you do. Just name it. Do not analyze it, and absolutely do not try to fix it. The magic here is that your brain literally cannot fully panic and fully label at the exact same time. The act of labeling instantly short-circuits the panic loop. Think of it through this really powerful metaphor. If a storm is raging inside you, without labeling it, you are basically standing outside getting completely drenched by the rain. You are the victim of the storm. But the split second you name the emotion, it's like you've stepped indoors. You're now watching the exact same storm, but from safely inside a house. It's the same storm, sure, but a totally different experience. You become an observer rather than the emotion itself, which immediately drops its intensity. You don't have to force yourself to calm down. You just need one sentence to name it. All right, section 4, trick 3, micro wins, the dopamine hit. If you combine the first two tricks, your face says, I'm safe, and your mind says, I see what's happening. That alone is incredibly powerful. But we aren't done. This final trick is the real game changer because it actually alters how your brain releases its happiness chemicals. See, people usually chase happiness completely the wrong way. They wait for good news. They wait for life to get better. They wait to hit these major, massive goals. But your brain doesn't just wait to dump happiness chemicals after a massive success. It releases dopamine during progress. Dopamine is this incredibly powerful chemical that cranks up your motivation, focus, and optimism. If you learn how to trigger it on demand, you can feel better almost instantly. And here's the secret. Your brain actively craves dopamine from tiny, immediate progress. Pick one small action that takes less than 15 seconds. Straighten your posture right now. Or take one single, slow, deep breath. Drink a sip of water. Check off one tiny, simple task. That is literally it. When you do that, your brain detects progress, and progress equals an instant dopamine hit. You do not need sweeping life changes to feel better. You just need a tiny bit of forward movement. So the absolutely crucial point here is this. You have got to stop waiting to feel motivated before you take action. That is completely backwards. Action comes first, and then motivation follows. Starting is always the hardest part, right? But once you give your brain that initial micro win, even if it's literally just drinking a glass of water, your brain rewards you with the dopamine necessary to help you keep going. You can manufacture your own motivation in under 15 seconds. Bringing it all together, section 5, your new superpower, the 45-second shift. Let's look at what happens when you stack all three of these tools. This is pretty much the ultimate biological hack for controlling your nervous system on demand. Imagine you are just having a really rough moment. Instead of spiraling down, you use this timeline. From 0 to 15 seconds, you gently soften your face and smile slightly to signal safety to your brain. From 15 to 30 seconds, you state exactly what you are feeling to stop the emotional spiral and step inside the house away from the storm. And from 30 to 45 seconds, you create one tiny micro win, like taking a deep breath or sitting up straight, to lock in that hit of dopamine. In under one single minute, your entire nervous system shifts. And get this, it's not because your external life changed even a little bit. It's because your internal brain chemistry did. This is real control. Remember, these aren't complex long-term habits you need to painstakingly build over months. They are simple manual switches you can literally flip at any time to ensure you are never stuck in a bad state for long. And the cool part, the more you use these tricks, the faster your brain responds to them. Which leads us to this incredibly empowering conclusion. Happiness isn't something you find, it's something you activate. Every single tool you need for happiness and emotional control already exists right now, hardwired inside your brain's biology. You just learned how to signal safety, how to halt an emotional spiral, and how to trigger happiness chemicals on demand. You don't have to wait around, and you don't have to force it. It is just simple brain science working entirely in your favor. So the next time you feel off, overwhelmed, or just kind of stuck, you now know exactly what to do. Happiness isn't miles away. It's just one small switch away. So I leave you with this question to chew on. Which switch will you flip today? Keep these tools in your back pocket, test the science out for yourself, and take back control of your 15 seconds.